Everybody says you find love at McGillin's. How often, I guess, do you see that? Like
every week.
Every week.
Every week. It is unbelievable. I mean, now granted, it was Valentine's Day, but we had two couples on Valentine's Day that we had not met who had met their spouses there 6-8 years ago. So it every week we're hearing a story. Not every week. I mean, I'm sure every week somebody's also meeting somebody, but we're just, we're not aware of it until they, having their engagement photos or they bring in their baby. But it's literally every week. It's mind-boggling.
Welcome back to the Brew That Podcast. I'm your host, Richie Tevlin, joined as always by Evan Blum.
Hello.
Today we have on a very special guest, Mr. Chris Mullins Jr., owner of the Philadelphia's oldest bar. You're probably like one of the oldest continuously running bars in the country, right?
Yes, yeah. We say the fifth oldest.
Fifth oldest.
Yeah.
And just one of the most popular, if not the most popular bars in Philly for the last, 160 years. So there's so many stories. I think that this episode is going to be like some of our other guests that we have on where we're not even going to be able to touch on everything.
Yeah.
But we'll try to. So, first off, let's start off with the beer. You brought some six great beers in. And I'm looking at them I know some connections to these beers in McGillin's, but I'm interested to hear them all. But where do you think we should start?
Well, I don't know. You're the expert. What do you think?
Let's
if you want to get rid of the fruity one first.
Let's do the fruity one first.
Okay.
Okay. So what? That's a Lindemans.
The framboise.
Let's go.
Yeah.
The fancy one.
Not necessarily my go-to beer, but it always brings back great memories.
Cool. So one of the biggest bars in Philly, but it's cool that you guys are specifically McGillin's sOldeAleHouse. Like, you guys are very beer centric, which is different than a lot of the popular bars downtown, which it's like, Trade Juice and these other places are like, vodka sodas and stuff. And it's cool that you guys are so popular with.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is there has been a shift in the way people consume their beverages.
Yeah.
It used to be 75% beer, 25% liquor. Now it's pretty much 50-50 for us. But cheers, guys.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, that's the key for us. It's in our name.
Yeah.
And it's been in our name for 166 years.
Yeah.
And so we always just try to make that primary.
Definitely. And you guys have the house beers. You guys have like the different colored beers. It's like there's all these things that are like beer centric, which is very cool.
Yeah.
But where should we start? Should we start in 1860? Can we start in 1860 and kind of like?
Sure. Yeah. I could talk for 166 hours if you needed me to. So, but yeah, I mean, McGillin's was founded in 1860 by William McGillin. He was a major beer aficionado. I mean, he was famous even during his lifetime, and the bar was famous in his lifetime for his practice of aging the beer in his cellars. So we're still digging and using the internet to find this information, but there's like great articles from like the Conshohocken Recorder from the 1870s.
Yeah.
Talking about his vast cellars under Drury Street.
Wow.
Which is amazing. So it was always about beer. It was much more simple when he opened it. It was just a one room townhouse, 14-foot wide bar. And as his business grew and his family grew, because he did raise the kids upstairs, he eventually expanded up and back in both sides of the original property. How
much of the original facade is the same? Because
not much.
Okay.
Not much. So he ran the bar from 1860 and he passed away in 1901 at McGillin's in the basement, cleaning up after workmen. He just dropped dead.
Legend.
They were putting in the first central heating system in a bar in Philly.
Wow.
And of course, they must have been sloppy workmen, and he was cleaning up after them and just dropped dead. He loved the bar the way it was. I mean, it was his baby.
Yeah.
It was 3 unique row homes, a little dilapidated. Instead of changing out floors from all the workmen's boots, he would just put another layer of wood on, put another layer of wood on. So all 3 houses had different levels. And people were always complaining about it. And it's in his obituary. He was famous for the condition of these properties. But he liked it that way. He died. His wife took over and pretty much gutted the whole property. So she put on the facade. She opened up the room, which looks very much today like it did in 1909 when she did the work. And she also changed the name. So when William opened it, it was called the Bell and Hand Ale House. And but most people refer to it as McGillin's.
Do you have a lot of the stuff that says like Bell in Hand?
We have the original sign. So
wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. We always knew it was the original sign. It was hard for us to prove that it was the original sign, but recently we've been writing a book about the bar, and in the research we uncovered the best exterior photograph that I'd never seen until last year, and you could see the Bell in Hand between the 2 front doors that were on the bar. It's the side.
That's cool because back then they didn't have iPhones. Like,
right.
Pictures were not very popular, and the fact that they went and took a picture of this sign,
true.
It means it was a big deal.
I have a lot of envy for McSorley's in New York City.
Yep.
Because they have tons of photos. There's photos 150 years ago. There's photos 150. And we just don't have them.
Yeah.
And people say, why? I think we were just a working man's bar, whereas McSorley's in Manhattan, you always had a little panache of, entertaining celebrities and presidents and such. And I'm not sure that we were ever in that caliber.
Yeah. More of a Philadelphia bar.
Yeah, exactly. Always has been, still today. But anyway, so Catherine took over as wife, and she was one of the few female pub owners. She was a legend in her own right. She used to give out carnations on her birthday, November 14th every year. And the year she died, she gave out 4,000 carnations. So people really looked to her as Ma, and that's why we call her Ma McGillin.
Yeah.
She was known as Ma back then. She was stern and, caring, and didn't put up with anything.
So I want to talk to you about her a little bit. I just told Evan before this. So I was doing some math on the timeline.
Okay.
When she passed away,
Yeah.
I did some back math, seeing, how old she was when she took over the bar.
Yeah.
She was 13 years old when she took over the bar.
Well, not really.
Okay.
Yeah, not really, but close. She was young. She was a young bride.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. But I'm going to turn, I'll probably be 33 by the time I get my bar open. And feel like, to think like, all right, to have owned a bar for 20 years. And then I was like, that's crazy. But then I thought, well, you are even longer than that, because like you've grown up doing this. It's kind of like been in.
Yeah, it's been in my family my whole life.
Yeah.
Obviously the older I've gotten, the more involved.
Definitely.
But yeah, I mean, it's unique. The story's unique because it hasn't like turned over and turned over and turned over. So many bars have. It's been 2 families. So it's 3 generations of the McGillin family, and I'm the 3rd generation of my family.
And it's cool with the original family that it was like her husband was like kind of like one iteration of it, and then she kind of put her spin on
for
it
a long period of time. I mean, she died in 1937. She took over in 1901,
and
so for 36 years back then,
during Prohibition, World War,
survived it. And again, they made it a landmark.
Definitely.
It's not like it's like, well, we've been around for 165 years. It's a landmark. When they were living, it was considered a landmark in Philadelphia. There's documents and marketing, a Philadelphia landmark since 1860.
Yeah.
So I think there's always been that chemistry and atmosphere that's really been appreciated by Philadelphians and
beyond. I know the Today Show came to you guys.
Yeah.
The Today Show, Australia.
Morning America.
Yeah.
During COVID, Today Show, we did, the bar was closed, so we had to do outside because the cameraman and the crew weren't comfortable. We had to do outside on Drury Street, on St. Patrick's Day in 2021.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's like McGillin's is like, it's like such a Philadelphia staple. Like, there's some bars in Philadelphia that people in Philadelphia know, but you guys have like come beyond that. Like, when tourists come to Philadelphia, they want to come visit.
Oftentimes before the Liberty Bell. You know, we laugh with that. Like, we got off the plane and we came to see McGillin's, first.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I hope we can live up to that, expectation. I think most times we do.
Are you a brewer looking to open, grow, or plan your next move? I'm Ted Zeller, liquor law attorney at Norris McLaughlin. I've spent my career working with breweries, helping them navigate the regulations that come with this industry at the municipal, county, state, and federal levels. From first permits to expansion into new markets, my team serves as legal counsel on licensing, compliance, and distribution. If you're ready to plan your next move or need legal guidance, I am here to help. Feel free to call me at 484-765-2220 or email me at tzeller@norris-law.com.
Hey, brewery or small business owner. At the Beer Accountant, they understand the unique financial challenges of the craft brewing industry. Come find our booth at the Craft Brewers Conference in the Grand Hall next to the Brewers of PA in Philadelphia this April. Mention the Brewdad podcast and get a free gift. Are you tired of navigating complex brewery accounting and taxes on your own? Staying up late working on financials and getting your finances in order after a whole workday? They're a CPA dedicated to helping breweries like yours thrive, with services ranging from qualified bookkeeping, business tax prep, to strategic financial planning. Stop wasting time on spreadsheets and focus on what you do best: making great beer and running a small business, servicing over 50 breweries in 4 states. So if you own a brewery or small business, stop overpaying for reactive support and start being proactive with the Beer Accountant. Don't brew that IPA without this CPA. Visit beeraccountant.com to learn how their specialized expertise can help your brewery grow, profit, and succeed.
Cool. So can we talk about kind of the transition from how or when your family took over?
Yeah. There was prohibition. Her daughter took over.
Yeah.
She had a nephew that ran the bar not very well. Was allegedly a thief and did some very questionable things. And so we found letters from like the FBI doing investigations for underage drinking and prostitution and all this bad stuff. So it was kind of going downhill in the 50s. And my grandfather worked in the DA's office here. He would deliver subpoenas, and he was moonlighting at McGillin's and found out that they were trying to get out of it. The next generation did not want to run a bar. They wanted to be a doctor.
Yeah.
As we talked about earlier. And he and my great uncle, his brother, they came in and took over in 1958. And did
they have experience before that?
Yes, because their mother they're Polish and had a Polish bar in Fairmount.
Cool.
Yeah, at Brown, Taney and Brown.
Okay.
It's the little Asian restaurant, but that used to be it was called Spaniak's.
Okay.
Spaniak. Yeah. So they've always been in the scene. They always, it wasn't a scene, it was a neighborhood bar. But they knew what they were getting into, and they knew the seriousness and the religiousness that they had to approach this with, especially being Polish. It's a little odd that 2 Polish brothers buying the oldest Irish pub in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So it was a thing then.
I saw they had different names also.
Yes. Yeah. My grandfather was the most Americanized Spaniak, and my great uncle was Hispaniak. So yeah, they could not agree on a lot of things, starting with their names, but they worked their asses off, so
cool.
And they ran it for 35 years through Philly's ups and downs, and towards the end of the 80s and into the 90s, it was a vastly different place than it is today.
I'm sure.
And it's hard to fully explain that to people that were not even born in the 80s or 90s.
Yeah. Do you know Rich Wagner?
Yeah. So yeah, sure. Very much so.
Awesome. He's one of our favorite guys.
Yeah. He's amazing.
But the story, the book that he wrote, Philadelphia Beers and Bars.
Yeah.
I always tell people how amazing it was, because I love history, and I obviously love beer also, but looking at history through the lens of breweries and bars, you're able to kind of see, I'm able to relate more to what history was like. And I think a lot of that book was what McGillin's was doing. So it's it was interesting.
Yeah. And you're right, because in the 80s, say at McGillin's, you could get 5 beers probably on draft, Budweiser, Genesee, maybe Ballantine's if it was still being made. back then, Schaefer. So there was no beer scene. There literally was no beer scene. And Midtown Village was not Midtown Village. It was just a hovel of a neighborhood that people were avoiding for decades. Decades.
So we had another guest on. My old roommate he was a PhD student at Temple, and he was studying like the queer history of Philadelphia through the lens of bars in Philadelphia. But his whole thing was like, his thesis was like writing about the sexual revolution in Philly neighborhood. Watching about like how kind of the city transformed it through the neighborhood. And then through kind of like the bar life transforming. The fact that it was so close to City Hall. It was like, it was very interesting.
It was a really, and there are some funny stories. Like there was a famous gay volleyball league that took place on Drury Street. Which is the street where McGillin's is.
In the street?
Every Sunday, because McGillin's was closed. And there was nobody around. So every Sunday, and you can find photos of it out on Drury Street. It's really cool. I think, because it just adds a different dimension. And then there was a very famous bar next door called the Drury Lane. It was a gay bar, restaurant, Café Lafitte. People still come and ask about it today. Any of the men who may not have told their families that they were gay, right, would tell my grandfather, "Hey, Henry, if my wife calls, I'm next door." And the wife would call McGillin's looking for Joe, and Joe is next door at the Drury Lane, and he would run next door, get Joe, and your wife's on the phone, get over here, get the call. So it's always been a diverse neighborhood, a welcoming neighborhood. It's obviously become even more welcoming and dynamic today. But some of those stories go back. That was 50 years ago.
The whole just being on Drury Lane is like the fact that you guys are kind of this offset street, and also the fact that your bar kind of looks like a museum, and it's like kind of stuck in history is very interesting, and it's like a destination.
It's kind of the worst location, right? You could ever have. Like nobody in their right mind would want to buy an urban business on an alley surrounded by all these great streets, right?
The fact that you are so
and it's also makes it a little bit of a competitive advantage, because back before there was Google and the internet, you'd have to find it. You call, and we were always giving people directions, and it just made it a place to be discovered.
That's cool.
That's
cool.
I want to talk about like some of the beers. We crack into another one, but what made you like bring some of these? Because you said all these have a link or some sort of story too.
The other challenge is, and I for brewers, is it's harder and harder and harder to actually find the beers that you want. So like I went to the Foodery, and they can't offer every, they might represent most breweries, but not the styles that you're looking for, because shelf space, which is an unfortunate side note. But I got the Lindemans because, back when, I'll start with when my parents bought McGillin's, right? There was 5 beers on draft, right?
In 1993?
In 93. There was nothing. I mean, there was like Red Bell was starting, in Center City, but there was no real craft beer scene. And my dad realized that the best way to find their way is to embrace the craft beer. It's in our name. It's new, and it'll be different than what anybody else is really doing. So he partnered with Stout's Brewing Company, Carol and Ed Stout, who are great friends of ours.
Cool.
And they created our ale, our lager, and our IPA originally. I was away at school. I went to the hotel school at Cornell. And on one of the breaks, I thought, let's do for the Alumni Association a craft beer dinner. And again, even back then, it was so hard to find local craft beers. We had a stout. I think that we had their Scarlet Lady on the dinner menu, but I did this with dessert.
Cool.
And it was just a fun way to introduce the whole McGillin's community, certainly that might have only had High Life or, beers like that, into something that you could have as a dessert, or you could have it as
they're probably like, wait,
salad.
This is beer?
This is beer. It's raspberry, and it's an import. So it's not something that we necessarily ever sold at McGillin's, but I just thought it was so different and unique. And whenever I would see it on the menu in college, I thought I'd being very cool. And I'm not going to have a glass of wine. I'll have a glass of this raspberry beer. So I brought that because I thought it was just
that's sick.
It takes me back 30 some years.
So I see the Trogs.
Yep.
So Stouts is obviously going out of business. So you guys then.
Well, we were desperate.
Yeah.
Because it was COVID.
Yeah.
And they were retiring.
Yeah.
God love them, and they work so hard. They're such wonderful people.
Yeah.
You should have Carol on sometime.
We've been trying to reach her. I want to talk to you after this.
Yeah,
I told him that it was like.
She would love it. I know she would love it. And I mean, Trogs they're large enough to be able to manage our volume, because that was consideration with picking, other breweries. How can you handle and guarantee that we're going to have 3 products year round?
Yeah.
And I think it was hard for Trogs because they're so huge. Our production, though it's significant, is kind of like What's that? Sorry, guys. I don't even use Siri. Sorry about that. Yeah.
It's like, what are More beer?
But it's, it's hard for them to keep up because they're trying to pump out their volume across the state and the region. So, but they've been a great partner. We're so happy with the quality of their beers, obviously.
Yeah.
And we're just another family owned brewery.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had John on, what was it? I think 3 months ago.
Yeah, and he mentioned you. I mean, part of it's like you're saying it's like difficult, but like it's a feather in their cap that they make your house beer.
Yeah, and I think being, it is a challenge for the beer industry.
Yeah,
because the competition is fierce amongst the breweries, but then you're competing against the THC drinks and liquor and all the ready to drink Surfsides. Every day there's something new.
Yeah. And
I feel like, you go to Total Wine and you see like the beer aisles are getting like smaller and smaller and smaller. So, I think they're happy to fill in. Maybe I think they're still growing.
Yeah.
Fortunately, they're one of the biggest. But it's a tough market.
Definitely. So jump back to 1993.
Yep.
Your mom and dad took over.
Yes.
And it was your mom's family, right? It was your mom's family that had owned it.
Yes.
But
you did your homework.
I listened to my homework. But did your dad have experience? Was he like?
My parents have always been in the industry. So
at McGillin's?
He worked there in the 70s.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a bartender in the 70s.
Is that how they met?
No, because then they met before he started at McGillin's.
Okay.
He worked at McGillin's because of my mother.
Yeah.
But they both worked for a company called Williamson's, which is long gone. It's an old school restaurant company. They had about 3 or 4 in the Philadelphia area. They worked there in high school and college. I worked there in college. It's kind of where everybody in our family started off. And they met on Cape Cod. They just happened to, through an aunt, meet, and we're like, wait, you work at Williamson's? We all work at Williamson's, and then the rest is history for them. But his father was a chef. My father cooked forever, so yeah, it's all on our veins.
It's cool.
Yeah.
So you said the 70s. He was like bartending there.
Yeah.
Who's your bartender that's been bartending?
John Doyle. Yeah, he was a doorman. Yep. He started. I'm 51 and a half years old. He's been there for 52 years.
Oh my God.
He's been there for 52
part of the family.
He's been there longer than I've been born.
He's watched you grow up.
That's right.
That is crazy.
Yeah. And he's always been a legend, He's a great guy. He's solid. He started hanging out at McGillin's, and then he's like, oh, do you need a doorman? And he's got a great smile, and he was perfect for the job. And he's been there 52 years.
That's interesting. I just listened to a podcast with Dan Suro from Tequilas, and he was saying the same thing. Like, he's now kind of like the boss over there, and there's people that are working for him that have worked there longer than he's been alive.
That's right. So John is the exception, but Ivy is another person. She's in the kitchen.
Yeah.
She worked for my grandfather.
Wow.
So, she hasn't been there 52 years, but I mean, she's one of the rare people that's worked for all three of us.
Yeah. And just in the bar industry alone, turnover is always crazy. To just see that is insane.
We're lucky, our kitchen averages about 10 years of service, which is unheard of.
Wow.
We have servers that have been there for 10, 15 years, which is great. Tammy, our day bartender, I don't want to tell you how old she is now, but she's been there since she was 18 and she's a grandmother.
Wow.
Yeah, which is awesome. So, that's also part of, I think, what people love about McGillin's, that, there's the history on the walls, but then there's the history you counter, giving you your beer and, telling you the stories, or, when Ivy, she'll proudly run up a salad and serve it to a table. It's unique, and we're really lucky.
Definitely, like the walls, everything. It's like a museum. It's like a museum that you can pound pictures at 2 a.m. It's this weird combination of like very cool young hip people, but also this like incredible history.
When people come back, say on a Sunday morning, looking for their credit cards, shoes, IDs, wallets, purses, dignity, they look around, they're like, I didn't know that McGillin's looks like this. This is so cool. Because when it's packed with people, you just don't really appreciate, the historic aspect.
So speaking of not appreciating, I used to work at Victory, and there was a random like Tuesday night that Foreigner came in and did a pop-up concert for us.
Yep.
And then they wanted us to go party with them afterwards. So we took them to McGillin's.
Right.
You guys were doing karaoke that night. They went up there and sang Cold as Ice, and everybody was like not paying attention to them.
Oh my gosh.
Cold as Ice.
I wonder I'm sure we have that on video somewhere. I mean, I
have it on my phone somewhere.
Yeah.
It was like, I was recording. Everyone was like, this is literally like a concert. And like, it was just like a karaoke thing.
That is funny. Yeah. Sometimes that gets lost in the crowd.
Yeah. It was fun.
Actually, but it's a night to remember.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So your dad kind of like, was it a conscious shift that he decided that he was going to switch over to craft?
100%.
Okay.
100%. Because again, everybody thinks that McGillin's 30 years ago was like McGillin's today.
Yeah.
It wasn't. So
you don't survive that long without not changing.
Yeah. The bar that they took over was closed on Saturdays at 6:00.
Really?
It's late night. It was Friday nights till midnight. And the rest of the week it closed at 8.
Wow.
Oh my God.
So there was no business.
Was that just them specifically, or was that kind of like
I think it was Center City. I mean, that section was really, you just kept away from it. You avoided it. The hotels would send people, like around towards City Hall. If you had to go from like Market to Broad, do not cut down 13th and go down Walnut and all of that. It was so different. And, it was just a different place, a different bar. It was as hard as my grandparents worked and everything, it really, they were fighting, Market Street issues, Chestnut Street. It used to be, pedestrian or on buses only. You couldn't drive down Chestnut Street. You couldn't park on Chestnut Street. The gallery was open on Market Street. So there were so many forces in Center City against small business.
Yeah.
And they were getting older. They were in their 70s and just starting to kind of cut back. So the fact that my parents came along to, with the experience to do it, they had 2 other Irish pubs in their background.
Yeah.
That they approached them and said, we think we can do it. But my dad was panicked, freaking out. It was really scary. I was a senior in high school, and I just remember, like, if it snowed, my father would be hysterical because, like, how are we going to pay the bills? How are we going to pay, the staff and et cetera? And they just figured out how they could turn the business around, and they relied heavily on the beer, so going from like 5 beers on draft to 10 to 15, and now we have 31 beers.
That's cool.
Still 31 beers.
That's
even though at times I'm like, should we do cocktails on draft, wines on draft, all these, vodka drinks on draft, but we stick to beer.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you went to St. Joe's for a year and then Cornell. Do you know Becca Foxman? She went to Cornell Hotel School as well.
No.
She owns Fox and Sons Fancy Hot Dog Corn Dogs, but she's the president of the PRLA.
Okay. No, interesting. Okay.
But
This year. She's the new
she's the new president.
Okay. I didn't know that.
But I know that you are also on the board of the night district.
Yep. I'm active on the nightclub advisory council.
Yeah. Did you kind of like come back did you work right from college?
No. Again, my parents, even though I went to the hotel school, which they were not happy about. I said, I'm probably the first kid who went to an Ivy League school whose parents were like so upset.
That wants to take over family business.
That want to get invited. But they're like, are you crazy? There's so many things you could do. Why would you do this? Now you're like committing yourself a lifetime of heartache. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
But, from their perspective, you don't know if you want your kids to work so hard.
Yeah.
But, so I went to St. Joe's, where St. Joe's family. My dad went there, my grandfather and my great uncle. So we all went to St. Joe's. And then when I got out of Cornell, I worked for Aramark and realized I do not want to work in corporate. Not at all. Then I went to the Union League and I was there for 7 years and loved it.
Speaking of the Union League, I heard that was your original location.
Oh.
I did a lot of research.
Wow.
It helps also. There's like a metric shitload of stuff written about you guys in every single publication.
I know. Well, especially but this story this was newly revealed in the book. So I had some inclinations. There were some references to, I do a lot of research or have done it, and started to see like William McGillen passes away, ran a tavern originally on Moravian Street where the Union League now stands. So I'm like, what? It is wild. Mainly because we always tell people McGillin's is in the same place where we since 1860.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, and I work there and I have such a great relationship and I love the Union League and the building and the history. And it turns out the McGillin's originally was on Moravian Street, right in the middle of where the Union League is today. So mid-block on Moravian Street. And, he raised the family there. And then we don't know yet why they moved. So I think maybe, they rented the property on Moravian Street and then they had the opportunity to buy this. I don't know.
It's crazy to me because I always think of like the Union League was like being something that was like there before City Hall. It just seems like such a
the front building was. So the front of the building was built, I think, in 1865. It was founded in 1862. The front building was 1865. Then 15th Street was built.
Okay.
In like 1910, and then the middle portion where McGillin's was 1911. Now, McGillin's had already moved, I think they were there from 1860 to maybe 1867, something like that. So I don't know what happened, after they left the block, but eventually it became the whole Union League. Yeah, it's 3 separate buildings.
Yeah,
the Union League.
That place is a beast. They have a giant restaurant up top now too.
Yeah, have you been?
I haven't been up top.
I mean, you couldn't even have dreamed that when I was there. It's just such an amazing turnaround. Another great turnaround story.
Definitely. So, at what point did you kind of get involved?
So, when I left the Union League, I moved to Costa Rica to help friends open a hotel there.
Nice.
Wow.
And I was down there like on the beach trying to get phone signal. And my dad is like, I'm ready to lose my mind. I think we need your help. And I thought I had intended to go there forever.
Yeah.
That was my intent.
Yeah.
But I only stayed 6 months and then turned around and came right back and resettled, I guess they'd say.
Nice.
So I've been there since 2006.
How do you think, the craft beer was kind of like, is probably booming at that point. Like, how has it kind of changed from where you took over? And like, I imagine there's been a lot of iterations.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the hardest part is you start to build the relationship with people. And then it's I hate talking about this with a brewer, but it's a very challenging financial model.
Business.
Yeah.
And most people, struggle with that.
Yeah.
A lot of breweries have done what we're against, which is opening a bar or restaurant. We do have a policy at McGillin's where you can brew it and let us sell it. But if you want to, you have a brewery in town, and you want to function as a restaurant, it's
taken away from you.
It's taken away from us. And people say, well, you're McGillin's and nothing takes away, but it does. At the end of the day, we fight for every dollar.
Yeah.
We really do. We don't take anything for granted. We work super hard for what we do. And, it's just, we got to draw the line somewhere.
So, like, if you have a rule, then there's no questions.
That's right.
It's a lot easier.
And we say that to people. Like I said, you know what? We love your beer.
Yeah.
You keep doing it. We'll keep buying it. But no, and I understand why breweries do it too. Yards is the perfect example for us.
Yeah.
We were one of the first, if not the first bar to have yards on draft, right? Great friends with Tom Kehoe.
Yeah.
Love him. That is a palace to all things beer and events and so we said, you make a business decision, we make a business decision, and
I think if both sides,
it's not bad mouthing because I understand it. You have to, you as the brewer have to find ways to bring in revenue, and if you can sell it, to the customer walking in the door at higher margins than you can selling it to us.
Yeah.
I don't blame people for doing it.
Yeah.
Victory was the same.
I remember because they were having conversations, like they had been looking for a spot in the city for a while, but I think a lot of people had come to them and be like, if you do this, like it's not, kind of like you're going to step on our toes.
Right. And that might be
worked out great for them, but
yes, it does. And that's why there's no hard feelings.
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit in terms of you build such great relationships.
Definitely.
So you hate to part ways.
Yeah.
But it's always amicable. And I don't know if we're ready to go to O'Hara's, but that's how we got to this point serving O'Hara's, because back 25 years ago, Guinness, obviously we sold Guinness back then. They had some relationships with some bars that are still in open. I don't want to get into the details. And all the main Irish pubs met and said, you know what? We have to fight back. If Guinness is going to be financially supporting our competition, direct competition in our neighborhood, then we have to find an alternative. And so that's where we would serve Beamish or Murphy's or O'Reilly Stout, which we still have on draft today. But O'Hara's is our Irish import.
Cool.
If you want me to open that.
Sure. Speaking of O'Reilly Stout, I see you got the mainstay beer right there.
Yes. What's this one here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, it is?
No,
that's Broad Street. Oh.
Wait, I'm like, what? Because
No, you're right. I'm literally looking at the name. It says Broad Street. I don't know what I'm thinking.
I brought them because they're kind of probably the newest brewery that we serve. I think they came up with a great name.
Yeah.
And their branding it's so easy, so Philly. They work hard for their business. So O'Hara's, because it's family owned. It's the only Irish stout brewed exclusively in Ireland.
How much of you guys kind of are an Irish bar.
Yep.
How much are people coming in and like you guys are selling a lot of?
Yeah. Well, we always have sold a decent amount.
Yeah.
We sell even 2 years ago, we sold more O'Hara's than anywhere else in North America.
Yeah.
But because they don't really sell that much either, like, to be frank.
That's still cool.
I think Seamus O'Hara, he's a hardworking guy. He comes once a year to visit. I think, he's really trying to build this as a competitor, trying to get a foothold in New York or Philly or Boston. And we've certainly embraced it. I mean, once we had the opportunity to sell it, we'd never turn back.
It's hard to compete with a brewery that doesn't pay rent.
Well, that's true, but it's so expensive to ship.
It definitely.
To ship. Where was I going there? Oh, so anyway, with this whole House of Guinness, the reality is that has changed people's consumption of stout. Any kind of stout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think it's opened their eyes to drinking it. I'm shocked by it.
Mainstay now, or not main? It's mainstream.
Mainstream. Yeah. Yeah. Like people will come in, clear, and we always get it. Can I have a Guinness? Well, what do you mean you don't have Guinness? Well, no, but we have O'Hara's.
Yeah, you can spill
say, I'll have a Coors Light or something crazy, but that's not happening so much anymore. So, people are coming in now asking for it. People are great trying something other than Guinness.
Yeah.
And it's been kind of exciting to watch, as that has significantly increased in our volume. I mean, shocking.
And it's cool that it's unique. It's not just like you are this like you're making these decisions like consciously. It's you're connected to like the owners there. It's like
my father is a hippie, or was it? You know what I mean? So it have any kind of like peaceful protest. He's all about it.
Yeah.
Which I love that, right? Like make a challenging decision because you get it. How could you be an Irish pub and not have Guinness?
Yeah.
And say, well, I've been to Ireland and I've been to other pubs that didn't have Guinness, or, it does Guinness, define what an Irish pub is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Again, I referenced McSorley's earlier. They don't even serve Irish stout. You get light and dark.
Yeah.
And they're probably the most classic Irish pub in America.
Yeah.
So we love to support O'Hara's. We love the support that they give us, again, by being there, by visiting when they don't take that relationship for granted.
And it's you guys think very long term, it's like
yeah. And wouldn't it be great if we can make O'Hara's as big as Guinness?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be awesome? I just got a call, and I'm not gonna say from who, from a pub locally that's interested in maybe switching. Right. And that is huge, right? I mean, it just, because that person's going out on the what's that? No, our kickback is, well, the concern only ever is now if a second pub or bar brings it in, are we going to have problems with volume?
Yeah.
Are you going to be able to keep up? Because if you run out, we got to get it shipped from Ireland.
Yeah. But like you said, like where people will come in and like they only want the Guinness, I think just O'Hara's getting more attention is only better for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's better for us. It's better for them. It's better. I mean, it just gives people options. I think it's delicious.
Yeah.
It's really good
and smooth.
Do people come in and watch soccer? I know I saw that the Sons of Sam started.
Yeah. We saw Sons of Ben. Yeah.
Sons of Sam, not so great.
Yeah. We're not a soccer bar.
Yeah.
And we never were, mainly because we're so busy and trying to like go from 2 a.m. to close to open at 7 or 8 in the morning. It's just like you have to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah.
But now that there's the Premier League games, or 3 o'clock in the afternoon,
are you ready for this summer?
Is anybody really ready?
Yeah.
I know. I just have noticed in the last week going to like CVS, and now they have like displays for the World Cup. And then I saw a Coke van today and it has World Cup on it. So you're starting to see it, and it's like the reality is beginning to set in.
And with you guys just being such like a worldwide known name, like you guys, like you said before, like the first stop they're hitting is McGillin's. Yeah. You guys are going to get hammered all summer.
Yeah, I think so. And we're excited to introduce them to local beer.
Definitely.
They're going to come in looking for their Pilsners and Kronenberg and Stella, and they're going to find their American Pilsners and lagers. It's going to be great. It'll be
fun.
Do you have a lot of say / all the say in like what goes on the tap?
No. Because the thing is a lot of our managers enjoy beer too. So, you build those relationships with the brewers, and, it's collaborative.
Yeah.
A lot of it is how do you get it? How, is it going to be self-distributed? Is it going to go through, clearly if it comes through a distributor, it's a little easier for us to manage the process. But no, we share. If somebody came along and said, let's bring in X brewery, we'd be all over, especially if it's local. If it's a European beer besides O'Hara's, we're not going to be interested.
Yeah.
We're just not.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because everybody's different. I mean, we've had some bars on that is like, that is my favorite thing. That is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like,
the reality is the main reason that I'm as involved as I am is managing the inventory. So, and I got that from my father. He's a hawk when it comes to inventory management. We're not a very big place, So you have to, you can't, we don't have room to store 12 halves of 12 different breweries for weeks and weeks and weeks. Like, we have to put it on this week. So we don't.
You guys are a machine. You guys pump through.
Well, but that's true. But we can't. Right.
We can't run out.
We can't run out, and it's okay to run out. I've learned that from my dad too. It's okay to run out. If we're not going to run out of beer.
Yeah.
Tonight we might run out of Broad Street and 2SP. But we'll get something tomorrow.
31 taps.
There's other choices.
Yeah.
But we can't also have, we don't pile up beer collecting dust, and we need the empties out the next day, so it's a machine in terms of that too. 6 days of deliveries,
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So it's inventory management.
So the other thing that I guess, as a young person in Philly, like before I started looking into history, like I guess before I was like super into craft beer, I knew you guys as like the green beer, the red beer, like
blue beer,
the blue beer. You guys love the colors. When did that start?
We've always had green beer.
Yeah,
always. I mean, back in the 70s, there's ads, come to St. Patrick's Day and green beer.
Yeah,
and we're not snobs about beer.
It's cool that you guys are quality beer. You care about the beer.
Yeah,
but you have to
have fun.
Exactly. Some people turn their nose up at that stuff, and it's just like. You got to play both of it.
And I mean, we value the craftsmanship and the quality of the locally brewed beer. But we also know, like, to keep the lights on and to feed we have 100 people on our staff, the place on a Saturday night doesn't necessarily want pitchers of stout or pitchers of IPAs. They want a pitcher of beer that they can sit and watch a game through, or dance and have fun, and but so you can't be a snob, and I hope anybody that ever comes into McGillin's gets that vibe. You know what I mean? That we're not judging you for whatever it is that you're drinking. If you're coming in and having a glass of water after dinner, but you wanted to come here to say hi to your favorite staff member, you're welcome. So
do you guys ever have the beer runners coming through?
Yes. Yeah. They come in about twice a year. The Fishtown. Yeah. Fishtown beer runners.
Yeah. They come in like hot and heavy. They drink a lot. I thought I did like a beer with them, and I thought that was going to be like mostly like they go, because I've been working in bars. A lot of the bartenders are like, I don't like the beer runners. Like, it's just because they get mobbed. But it's like, I thought that it was going to be everyone's drinking water. When I got there, they were drinking beer.
Yeah. And that's, sometimes with, staff, and I'm not complaining about our staff, but, anything that veers from the norm.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's like, it's 1 hour, 2 hours, or one day.
Yeah.
I know, St. Patrick's Day, it's one of these days, the crowds and everyone in green, you have to hunker down and get through it and find the fun, because it is fun. It's had a lot of energy.
What's a bigger day for you, St. Patrick's Day or Mummers Parade?
Mummers, I'd say consistently.
Like throughout the day?
Yeah, and also depending on the week, like St. Patrick's Day last year was a Monday, to this year it's a Tuesday. It's going to be a little lighter. When it's a Saturday, it's massive. New Year's Day, no matter what, everybody comes to the parade. So you just expect the crowds.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You always have a day off.
We don't. Oh, you don't. People do. Yes, the people do. Yeah, exactly right. Right. So,
What was the parade, the Eagles parade like? Was that like the biggest day ever?
That was the biggest day ever.
Really?
The first one we were so unprepared for. Like I think we opened at 10 a.m. and I got there maybe at 8, and people were just banging on the door because everybody was taking the trains down in rows, and there was like nowhere to go. They couldn't go. Like, they needed restrooms, they needed food, they needed drinks, and there was nowhere because it was the first time that we've had anything like this 30, 40 years. Second time, we were a little more prepared. We didn't open any earlier, but I think people just had a plan, which they didn't have the first time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think obviously the Super Bowl just happened, and they put out like the numbers of people that went to the Seattle parade and like kind of everywhere else. And I think Philadelphia was like, I think they definitely had the number one. The first time they won, they had like 2 million people come to the city, and that was by far the most. And I think the second time was like 1.5 or 1.8, which was like top 3 or 4 of all sports parades.
And when you look at like the parade route for the Eagles, I mean, it's stretched how many miles?
Yeah.
And you wonder, like in Seattle, do they go from one end of the city pretty much to another?
Yeah.
You know? I mean, and ours packed the entire length.
I mean, you guys are
pretty amazing.
From Broad Street?
A block, yeah.
Block?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a lot. And you're stuck. You're stuck back there, right? I mean, there's no getting out until the parade ends.
Yeah.
You know, no cell service.
Oh my God.
Everything.
You don't need a cell phone. You just need to hang out and drink there.
Exactly. Right.
A beer.
Do you guys ever do events where it's like because you guys have the block, are you guys able to kind of like block that off and like
We don't. It's always been something for us. We'd like to preserve the openness of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a service alley too. It serves all the businesses on Chestnut and Sansom and 13th and Juniper. And that's where trash comes and goes and everybody else's deliveries come and go. So we really try to keep that clear. Just the Midtown Village Fall Festival is really the only time when it was a neighborhood event.
Yeah.
You know, I get sometimes annoyed though when bars block the street off for themselves. You know, like, okay, is this a community event? So we're always conscious of that too. Like to do that, especially on a regular basis, it's disruptive.
Also, you've seen it when the neighborhood was not favorable.
Yeah.
Like you want to keep the neighborhood healthy.
It's a challenge. Yeah, it's a challenge.
So speaking on that, you're on the nighttime board of Philly.
Yep.
Is that new?
It's on to its second year.
Okay. And what exactly is that?
So the reality is, and Philly's kind of late to the table.
Yeah.
It's been happening all over the world, specifically in Asia and Europe, where the cities have realized that we're not 9 to 5. You know, there's a whole different economy that starts when the sun goes down and it ends when the sun
It's like watching Planet Earth.
It's true.
It like changes and then there's like another ecosystem.
But the city shuts down.
Yeah.
Right? Like think about it. Trash doesn't get picked up I mean, I don't mean trash trucks, like sweeping. Like wouldn't it be nice if in the corridors that have bars that there's people cleaning up all night long?
Yeah.
Or traffic cops or, SEPTA running 24 hours. You know? And so what this committees gets together, supporting Raheem Manning. He's the night mayor. He's
That's a great name.
It's like a superhero.
Well, at work, people are like, the night mayor's here? I'm like, no, the night mayor. He's the night mayor. Don't avoid him. And he's responsible for coordinating all of these departments.
Is that just in Center City?
It's all of Philadelphia.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's all of Philadelphia. So if there's, issues with unlicensed bars or noise violations, right? It used to be you call the police, the neighbors call the police, and then the police have to go in and bang down the door, do whatever they need to do. Whereas Raheem has taken more of an active role in trying to like solve the problems. Like how can we fix things? And when commercial spaces are being built with the idea of being a bar restaurant, let's work with the developers to noise dampen the structure so we're not having noise pollution. Because if anybody's lived on a block with a bar, it could be noisy.
Yeah.
And who's there first? Right. So the bar's been there for 50 years and then in a neighborhood that nobody wanted to live in. And now it's gentrifying and everyone's complaining about the bar. So it's trying to come up with a peaceful resolution so both can win.
Have you seen changes in like legislature or anything? Like maybe not over your lifetime, but maybe over your parents, like things that are happening like in the city, like drinking times or drinking days?
Well, it's certainly drinking days because of the blue laws. I mean, McGillin's wasn't open on Sundays. And that's actually when I started, I opened on Sundays.
Yeah.
But that was an us thing and not the blue laws. But I mean, that's the biggest one.
When was
post prohibition? So in order to, when the bars reopened, they were very restrictive on operations. So you couldn't be open on Sundays. You couldn't you couldn't see into the bar from the street. So if you've ever like old school bars like McGillin's, you can't see in. There's no clear windows. That's a reflection of the blue laws. So it didn't entice people to the dark side.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
You'll get tempted to go in and drink.
Yep. Well, I mean, that was the problem. All these dads were not coming home, and women were really behind the whole prohibition movement, the wives, because the men were not home.
Yeah, we had, who was it? Who was the writer that we had on? A Woman's Places in the Brew House.
Oh, Tara.
Tara Nurin.
No.
She was like talking to us about prohibition. Like, a lot of the prohibition was like feminism and prohibition kind of were like part of the same movement.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Really, it's a I don't know, but there's some of those laws are still affecting us today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very weird. And now that we talked briefly about like the weed laws, and it's just like we've thrown this wrench into how is.
And it's so easy to access, and you don't know how
regulations.
It's nothing. I know. And you brought up hours. The state's talking about extending the liquor license hours of operations for bars during the World Cup.
Really?
To be earlier?
To stay open till 4 a.m.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that would change.
Yeah. We are not in favor. This is an official announcement. It's just. I can't say it's bad for the city.
Yeah.
But it's just not right for our staff.
Nothing good past 2 a.m.
I mean, it's time to go home. And so many of these games, it's not like they're so late to start that by the time it ends, there's no time to come for a beer after the game.
Yeah.
And they say Europeans, they want to party, but I'm like, I've been to Europe, and the bars are closed on Sundays or close at 11,
Yeah. Yeah, they haven't been to Philadelphia.
Yeah. So I don't think... Is that I'm not necessarily in favor of it.
Could that be like a can of worms if like you open that till 4, now it's going to be like...
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. And people argue about it being a tax revenue for the city, but I'm also concerned about the other side, police overtime, right? Because now you need those more cops on the street now till 4:30 in the morning, 5 in the morning.
That's my biggest gripe with a lot of the gambling stuff. It's like it's bringing in tax revenue, but it's...
Yeah, at what expense?
The whole thing with gambling is just, it's for drinking, it's like... You drink, you might, act crazy or whatever. Gambling, like the whole expense is you're literally just taking money. It's like the whole thing is taking the money. No. So it's kind of crazy that the argument to me does not make that much sense.
Yeah, and I think like we've been approached so many times about putting in games of chance, and I'm like, I don't even want to get into it. Like forget societal. Like now we're managing like these like machines and people getting upset when they lose all their money and this. It's not like, it just adds one more layer of
the skill games is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Can we crack one more beer open?
Yeah, sure.
All right, which one?
So I don't know. I'd say that. Well, you pick it.
Let's do 2SP. I haven't had a 2SP in a while.
Yeah, and it's just the Delco lager. Everybody wants to be associated with Delco.
By the way, 2SP has a very underrated brewery. It's, just the brewery itself, but also like their production facility is like, it's not massive, but it's larger than a lot of the breweries around here.
Yeah.
And it's a really nice system.
Well, and I love that talk about like they're always trying to come up with a new style or a new branding. I'm forgetting the name of the one where they do the art that's in the public domain series or something.
Cole would know the name of that. We've covered that a little bit.
Yeah, it was such a great idea to be able to take these images and to create a story behind the brew, and they're good guys.
They're old Iron Hill guys, I think, right?
I don't know. Is that where it started?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we've had a lot of these, like the brewing tree of people coming from different places. It's fun.
So I feel like we have to touch on this if it's a McGillin's podcast. Everybody says you find love at McGillin's.
Okay.
How often, I guess, do you see that? Like
every week.
Every week.
Every week. It is unbelievable. I mean, now granted, it was Valentine's Day, but we had 2 couples on Valentine's Day that we had not met who had met their spouses there 6-8 years ago. So it every week we're hearing a story. Not every week. I mean, I'm sure every week somebody's also meeting somebody, but we're just, we're not aware of it until they, having their engagement photos or they bring in their baby. But it's literally every week. It's mind boggling.
At some point, it's just like a numbers game. Like you guys have been open so long, but then like there's also like this magic to it now. And now it has this like this.
And we knew that we had these stories, and then I'm like, I think we need to start documenting these people because it's totally part of our history.
Yeah,
right? Like this is the coolest.
Is that something going to be in the book?
Well, it is. So there's there's a chapter dedicated to the couples, and we're up to now 4 guest books of these couples. They come in, they sign, they tell their story.
Wow.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, and again, when they come in, you're like, we had 2 people call this week. So 2 people came in on Valentine's, 2 couples called. One person called and said, I met my ex-husband there. Like, okay, I don't know what we'll do with that story. It's kind of a little funny, but
their feelings.
But that's a whole different chapter, I guess. Love on the rocks or something. Yeah. But you think you got to every couple, and then like this woman on Sunday, Audrey, she said, I met my husband there July 3rd, 1976. It was after the bicentennial parade. I came into McGillin's with my balloon and my American flag, and I met my husband. I mean, it was like, you can't make it up.
She's got to run it back this year.
Yeah, I said that. I'm like, I need that picture. I really, if we had the phones, in everybody's hands, the pictures that we would have would have just been unbelievable.
Yeah.
That night, because we have them now, this is the night we met at McGillin's, but there's nothing like that from 4 years ago.
People were actually getting engaged there.
We got engaged with that. So we do that. That happens randomly.
Yeah.
Normally, they'll bring their family in and all that. We have on leap year, it's an Irish tradition where the female proposes to the man. Sadie, I'm forgetting the name of the whatever they call it.
Okay.
But it's a tradition, and so we have women that have proposed to their husbands.
That's awesome.
We have a whole different slew of them.
What a way to get some lifelong customers.
Yeah, and then it's true though, because it becomes intergenerational, right?
Definitely.
So you 2 met, and it's so important to you, and then you're bringing your child in, right?
Yeah.
And then raising the child coming here, and we love kids.
Every single time their kid comes there, they scream at their friends.
Yeah, I've met here, and we give them so much attention, and then the kids grow up, and then they're bringing the grandparents are bringing their grandkids. So yeah, I mean it's so important, and it's so in line with our values.
Definitely,
the family and love, and it's the nice side of the business to really embrace.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said before, it's like it's very long-term thinking. Like you're not just trying to like get the next sale. It's like from the beginning, you guys have been thinking about this as like very, and even before you, it was very long-term thinking. So
yeah, and a little bit of that secret is we do own the property.
Yeah.
And that does allow us to make more long-term decisions than if you rent.
Definitely.
From the business side of it.
Yeah.
Which we're fortunate for.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. So I guess we can find you at McGillin's, but you guys just McGillin's at McGillin's? Is it just
McGillin's at AOL.com is our email address. McGillin's.com is the website. And we do have a store. So if you've ever ventured down Juniper Street, it's about a block away, 123 South Juniper. We have a shop.
Your website's awesome too.
Oh, well, you know what?
A lot of bar websites suck.
It's important to us too because it helps us tell the story.
Definitely.
People like the story.
Definitely.
And we like to be able to share as much as we can with people. And we're still uncovering stories every day. Can I tell one more little story?
Yes.
Do you remember the bar Woolly Mammoths?
I've heard
it was on South Street. It just closed maybe 6 months ago.
Yeah.
The owner, Matt Woody, he unfortunately passed away. The great grandson of William and Catherine McGillen.
Wow.
Isn't that neat?
Wow.
And so his sister Meg has been providing us with a lot of the family information that we've never known. So like she just presented us a copy of the original deed to the first property at McGillin's. So we have that on the wall. That photo with the bell in hand came from Meg. So again, like the couples where they're still coming out of the woodwork, we're still uncovering photos that we had and stories that we had no idea ever existed, which makes it great too.
Definitely. Right? You guys have all your liquor licenses that you've had on the wall?
Yep. Well, they go back to 1871, and I could never figure out why was it 1871. I would tell people probably because he didn't think he was going to be around long enough to hold on and display them. But now I think it's because of that movement. So he didn't have them from when he was on Moravian Street. He moved to Brewery, and he started it, 1870, 1871, displaying them. So it explains a little bit of that void. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You're going to run out of wall space at some point. You're going to have to buy another bar.
No, we still somehow, we're not buying another bar. That is, I can tell you right now, everybody's asked us that constantly, and that's not in the cards. Now there's always more room. We still somehow find more space.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this is a great conversation. I had a lot of fun. It was nice to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you guys.
Thank you for coming on. And you can follow us at Brewdat, at the Brewdat Podcast. Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on Spotify. And
give us a 5-star, please.
5 stars. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.